Hey y'all, in this video I am going to show you how I've set up my own personal travel home lab using a Raspberry Pi, a USB stick, and a travel router. One cool part is this all can be powered by a battery bank, and you can actually have it mobile. So you don't even have to have plugs. And I'm going to set up a home media server using Jellyfin and Casa OS. So let's go ahead and jump into this video so I can show you how to get everything started. And first thing that we're going to start with is the GL.iNet. This is a travel router. It's using OpenWRT to set up and secure your own network. So that way when you get to a hotel room or you're traveling around, you don't have to go in and put the Wi-Fi passwords for your laptops, for your tablet, or anything like that. It's actually all stored into this one. All your devices can automatically just connect to this device. So let's go ahead and set this up really quick. The first thing is when you go in and buy this GL.iNet, which I will have linked below. In a little bit, I do make a small commission at no additional cost to you because they are affiliate links. But once you get this, it will come in a box and it has all of the stuff you need, the power adapter and everything in the setup. But we're going to do a quick setup tutorial. First thing we're going to do, power the device on. You'll see a blue light here. Give it a couple minutes because it does take a few seconds to load up. So let's go ahead and open up our Wi-Fi. And we're going to look for a network that starts with GL. It'll actually be on the bottom of it, tell you what that SSID is. So mine is GL-MT3000DF. DDF. We hit connect. The password to that device is actually going to be down here on the bottom also. Once you connect, what you need to do is open your browser up, and we're going to go to 192.168.8.1. And here you come to the setup page. First thing you're going to see is going to say English. You can select your languages. They do have several other languages in here. I'm going to select mine as English. Click next. It's going to ask you to reset your admin password. I'm going to put my super secret scroll password in, if I can type. Oh, it's got to be a minimum of 10 characters long. Once you get both green check marks, you're going to hit apply. So now that we are on the admin page, we need to connect to the Wi-Fi, or you can actually hardwire it because it does have two RJ45 on the back. One is for WAN and one is for LAN. The WAN is a 2.5 gig. But I'm just going to use Wi-Fi today. So down here, you're going to see on the admin page, you're going to say where it says repeater is disabled and connect. We're going to click connect, and it's going to scan and see what network says fine. I'm just going to use my default home network, put my password in. Now that we are connected, you can see that I am getting a 192.168.1. So I'm actually connected directly to my router inside of my network. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to come down here to where it says upgrade and make sure that your firmware is up to date. It may need to be updated. Just go ahead and follow those steps. Now, we're also going to set up our own travel network. That way we're not using the default. So we're going to come right here where it says wireless. And we are going to select modify. Now, I am just going to change this one. This is the 5 gigahertz, so it only uses the 5 gigahertz network. I'm just going to change this to travel router 5G. I'm going to reset my password so that I know what it is. And we'll click apply. And we're also going to change our 2.4 gigahertz. We're going to do modify. And I'm just going to change this to travel router 2G. And change this password also. And click apply. So now that that has come up, or we have reset the network, we are going to have to reconnect. So we'll give it just a few minutes. So I've got the travel router 5G and 2G. I'm going to connect to that 5G. Now that we're connected, we're just going to refresh our page. We're going to come back over here and go to internet, and we can still see that we are online. Really cool part is actually right here. You can see that it does give you a QR code to actually or you can get a cell phone, scan that QR code, and you're automatically connected. We're also going to come down here and change our time zone to our local time zone. I am in America, Chicago, and hit play. Now that we've got our time zone set up, we are good to go. Our travel router is set up. You can take this with you and plug it into any hotel and connect directly to that Wi-Fi. Or if they do have Ethernet cable, you can actually connect it directly in and you're automatically connected to the internet. You don't have to put in all of those passwords. And everybody's connected to the internet, as long as you got the password stored in all of those devices. We are actually going to jump over to the next part of this, which is building our travel server. And I am using a 256 gig USB, and we are going to install Raspbian on it. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it into my device. And the next thing I need to do is I'm going to go to Raspberry Pi Imager. Just Google search Raspberry Pi Imager. I will also put this down in the description below. And you are going to download the Raspberry Pi Imager for whatever device you are on. So if you're on Windows or Mac or even Ubuntu, then you can download it there. I've actually already downloaded it for Windows. So I'm going to just type in Raspberry and you will see Raspberry Pi Imager. I'm going to click yes so that it'll open. The first thing that we want to do is we want to select what type of device we are using. Like I said, I am using the Raspberry Pi 4B or Raspberry Pi 4. This will also work on a Raspberry Pi 5. I would not use a Raspberry Pi 3 as I don't think that's going to well work for the media server. We're going to do the Raspberry Pi 4. I'll also put a description in, or I'll put a link to one of these and the Raspberry Pi 5 in the link below. Next, we're going to do is choose our OS. We're going to come right here where it says Raspberry Pi OS Other. And we are going to select the Raspberry Pi OS Lite 64. Then we're going to select our storage device. Gotta make sure it's plugged in. And I'm going to select the Kingston Data Traveler and click Next. And you'll just select whichever device you are using. I would suggest having at least like a 256 gig USB, so that way you can create a media server. The next thing we're going to do is when it says, would you like to apply OS custom settings? We're actually going to edit these settings. We're going to give ourselves a host name. So I'm going to name mine Pi4. And we're going to do Brian, or I'm going to use my username as Brian, and then set a password. Not select the wireless because we're actually going to connect our Raspberry Pi directly to this. And we want to also click on services and enable SSH. We're going to click save. And then would you like to apply custom settings? Yes. And it's going to tell me that everything is going to be deleted off of this file so that it can write this OS or write this ISO on there. Do not use a drive or a USB that you don't want to lose data on. If you are going to do that, make sure to back that up because you will lose all of that. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. While we're letting this load, let's go ahead and jump into the sponsor of this video.
If you're anything like me, you love working in your home lab, staying up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, building a new VM, setting up your media server, just messing around inside of your home lab. And most likely, if you're doing this, you probably work in IT and you work all them long, countless hours. Well, you need a break. You need to go on vacation and enjoy life because you've worked extremely hard to be where you're at, but it's time to reap those rewards. And that's where the sponsor comes in, Take Travels. We are an all-in-one travel agent. We do everything from start to finish. We'll help you plan where you're going to fly out of, where you're going to stay, even the excursions that you want to go on. And it's all customly built just for you. No more of those cookie cutter vacations that you find online where you've got to do countless hours of research and figuring out what you need to do next or how am I going to get there? How do I do transportation? We got you covered. So if you want to learn how Take Travels can help you plan your dream vacation, go down to the description below, get a free quote today, and we will personally reach out to you and get your dream vacation set up custom just for you. Let's get back to the video.
All right, now that that is done uploading and written to that USB stick, we're going to go ahead and click continue, and it is safe to remove that USB stick. We're then going to take it, plug it into our Raspberry Pi. I'm going to use the USB 3. So we're going to plug it in, grab me a power source, plug in the power to my Raspberry. Actually, next thing we're going to do, get us a RJ or get us a Ethernet cable, plug that in, and then we're going to plug it into the back of our home router into the LAN port. This is going to be the only device that we're going to plug directly into it. Everything else can be using Wi-Fi. Plug that in, and then plug our Raspberry Pi up to power. Now, while we're given that time to boot up, we are going to go to Casa OS. I will also put this down in the description below. Now, this is a personal, they call it your personal cloud OS. One of the great things is it's very light, and what it does is it uses Docker containers to have multiple things. Scroll down here a little bit. Let's kind of take a look at this guy. Like I said, it'll work on a Raspberry, it'll work on Ubuntu or Debian, but it has tons of apps. From Jellyfin, which is actually what we're going to use, DuckDNS, and so much more that you can do just to have you your own little environment that you can dev on or do anything really with it. Also does a little bit of pretty good storage control. We're going to scroll back up to the top. You'll see right here it says curl. This is how we are going to upload this to our Raspberry. Once we get done, we're going to give it a few minutes to get everything loaded up, and we're going to go back to our 192.168.1, which is our home router, and we're going to look for clients. My Raspberry hasn't come quite up yet. All right, now that it has come up, you can see that we have an IP address of 192.168.1 or .115. Yours may be different, but we need to go ahead and SSH into that. So we're going to go down here to the start menu, and we're going to type in terminal. We're going to do SSH space the username that we set up, and that's how I'm going to do Brian at 192.168.8.115. We're going to type in yes, and we're going to put in that super secret squirrel password that we created when we set up our Raspberry. Now that we're here, we are on our Raspberry. We're SSH'd into our device, and we can install and set everything up. Now, if you want to clear your screen, all you got to do is press Control-L. That will clear your screen. First thing we need to do is we need to update this. So we're going to do sudo apt update. And sudo space sudo apt upgrade. And why I did the and is I like everything to actually just run, and I don't have to put both commands in at the same time. Right here, when you get this and do you want to continue, you can put Y there, or because the Y is capitalized, you can actually just select it, and that is the default. So I will fast forward through this while my Raspberry Pi is updating. Now that that is done and upgrading, and we know we are fully up to date, we're going to head back over to Casa OS, and we're going to copy this curl command. And we're going to open our terminal back up, and we are just going to paste it. We're going to let this install. It'll pop up saying Casa OS. It's going to verify everything. It does take a couple more minutes for it to fully set up, so I will fast forward through this one. All right, now that that is fully done installing, first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to come back to our router, and we're going to go to LAN, And we're going to scroll down to the bottom and we're going to do add address reservation. I'm going to make this so it's a static IP address. That way I know exactly where it's at all times. So we're going to make sure that we click the correct one, which is going to be this 115. And I'm just going to set this up to 192.168.10. And we'll just put Casa on here as a description and hit submit. Now it's not going to set it up immediately. We actually need to do a reboot. So we're going to do sudo reboot. And we're going to wait for that to come back up. So we're going to ping that 192.168.8.10. And it tells me device host is unreachable. Now what you can do to make the totals continuously keep going, to only do 10, we can do a -T. And it looks like it is coming back online. I am getting a reply. So now that we've got that set up, we're actually going to go open our browser back up and we're going to go to 192.168.10 and you will be brought to your welcome page or your welcome to Casa OS. We're going to click go. We're going to create a username. I'm going to just name this Pi4. Give it a super secret squirrel password and we're going to click create. You can accept this or cancel it. It's really up to you. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel. As you can see, we have a little mini dashboard. Now, what can I do with this dashboard? Well, first thing is, let's talk about files. You actually have a whole entire file system here. So you're able to download things. You've got a document. You've got a media, which we're going to use this for our media server. Got some root drives, and it is a good place that if you really want to just store your files, you can have a little mini storage on here. You can actually add other drives to this and make it so you have more. But let's install Jellyfin or our media server. I'm going to click right here and I'm going to go to App Store. I'm going to search I can just type in JEL. I'm going to select Jellyfin and install. Let this install. Now that that is installed, you'll see that you have a new app here on your screen. We're going to just open that to click. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to select your preferred language. I'm going to keep it as English. Click next and create a new user. I'm just going to call this Pi4 and create another super squirrel password. We're going to click next. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to add a media library. We're going to click add. And we're going to make this as movies because we're going to just add some movies. Display name. And then we're going to select a folder. And what I want to do is go to media and I'm going to select movies. Click OK. Okay. Now we're going to click next. Click next. You can allow remote connection. I'm going to turn that off. Click next and finish. It's going to ask me to log in. Put Pi4 and that super secret squirrel password I created. You can see right now I do have a movies folder, but I don't have anything in there. So how do I get movies in there? We're going to go back to Casa. We're going to go to this file. We're going to come over here to media. And then if you do have any movies or TV shows that you want to put on here, you can actually create a TV shows thing. But I'm just going to select movies. And I want to upload a movie. I'm going to find movie. I'm just going to upload The Simpsons. That's the one that I do have on mine. Now I'm not going to play it so I don't get any copyright or anything like that. Click right here where these three little lines, and we're going to go to dashboard. Once we are on the dashboard, we are going to look for scan all libraries. And let it scan. We've got that up. We're just going to click on those movies and you can see that it's actually been updated. Play this through. But now we have our own media server set up. You're actually able to put as many movies on here as you can store on your 250 gig S or USB stick. And you can take this anywhere. Now, like I said, we are able to do this battery powered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually SSH back into my Raspberry real quick. So I'm going to do SSH and then my username. Yes. I'm going to just do sudo shutdown now. And you always do want to shut down your Raspberry Pi when you're going to power it off. You don't want to just unplug it because it can corrupt the system a little bit or corrupt that OS. So make sure to always SSH into your device and shut it down properly. But as you can see right here, I do have a battery backup or a battery power bank. This is just a 10,000 milliamp. I'm going to plug my Raspberry up to it. And I'm going to plug up. I'm going to unplug my router from the network or from its power supply and plug it in. And give this just a couple seconds. And as you can see, now I've got some really long cords on this. This would be, you would want to have some shorter USBs to charge all of this. But as you can see, I am mobile completely. I could put this in my car and travel with it just like this. After doing a little bit of testing, this 10,000 milliamp, that did last me about 3 hours. But one thing that I will say is make sure that you do have a device that you can track how much battery life is on it. Because once it does get down to around that 15 to 20%, I would go ahead and log into your Raspberry and shut that device down, and then you can plug it back in and bring it up. Let's go ahead and connect to our network and see if everything's working. All right, we are connected. I'm just going to go back to that Casa OS, so I'm going to go to the 192.168.8.10. Put my username in, which was Pi4, and my secret world password. Let's play it. And like I said, all running for a mobile device. Now, if you like content like this, please like and subscribe. And I would love to know what you think about building your own little travel home server. And I'll see you in the next one.